Roughly 1/7 of SkyBridge Capital is invested in activists. I'm here with Anthony Scaramucci, founder and co-managing partner of SkyBridge. Anthony, it's great to see you.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate being here. I hope next time we get together, I'll be able to say it's a quarter.
That's true.
Possibly more.
Tell us a little bit about why you guys have such a strong amount of the entire pocket invested in activists.
It has to do with the opportunity set at this current stage in the business cycle of the overall global economy. And so there's a ton of cash on the S&P 500 balance sheet. These corporations now need to do something with that cash. And so if you also look at the way the financial reform has worked in the United States, it gives activists a little bit more of an edge at the table because there needs to be more independent board seats at these major companies. And so what you'll see is like what Dan Loeb did this week with Dow Chemical. We're predicting you're going to see a lot more of that activity. And because there's so much cash on the S&P balance sheet, these guys will be able to realize some of that cash in terms of their investment return.
Definitely, and activists always kind of cause quite a stir, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out over what you mentioned, the next 2 to 3 years. But that's just a seventh of what you guys have at stake, of roughly 9.3 billion asset under management. You're getting a stronger hold in Asia as well, and I'm just wondering why. Why do you think that's important now?
Well, I think that when we're looking at the global economy and we're looking at future growth, people are looking at China saying that it's slowing down, but it's still growing at a 7.5% to say 8% clip, well faster than Europe or the United States. Also, like if you take the Southeast Asian quadrant where there's about 600 million people living in that area, we think that's going to grow faster than the rest of the world as well. So we're spending a lot more time in Asia. We brought our SALT conference to Singapore. We just did a deal with the Worry Bank in South Korea. They've been a fabulous business partner for us. Look for some announcements related to SkyBridge coming out of Japan shortly.
We will keep that in mind. What about the history of China and how that affects the investment strategy that you guys deploy?
Well, you know, what I like to say to employees and investors, if you study China, they were 30% of the GDP in 1830. They went to 2% of the GDP in the mid-20th century. And by 2030, they're going to be back up to 30%. And so they've made the right judgments on economic reform. Listen, they have a different political structure than the West. I think we have to do is embrace and understand that culture. But I just think there's going to be tremendous opportunity over there for companies like ours. And it would not make sense for us if we didn't have a presence or develop a bigger presence there.
So we'll have to follow up with you in 2030 then.
Yeah, I hope by 2030 you'll be a lot bigger company, and hopefully we'll be having fewer offices in that area of the world.
Fantastic.